Welcome to the LP Texas Candidate Highlight, where we will shine a light on those sharing the Liberty message and their vision to help shape politics. I'm Amanda Gibbs, part of the comms team, and my co host today is Nathan Polsky, who does a bit of everything in the LP.
All right. I am Nathan Polsky. There's Amanda Gibbs, and we've got with us here today is Chris Claytor.
How's it going?
Good. How did you enjoy your weekend?
That's great.
Awesome. All right, so we got a series of questions here. We may not get through all of them. Some are pretty important, some more for fun. But Amanda, if you want to just go ahead and get us started off.
Okay, so the first one would be, who are you and what are you running for?
Well, as you already heard, I like to go by Chris Claytor, but on the ballot in November, you'll find my full name. It's Christopher Claytor. And I am running as the Libertarian nominee for the congressional district, or to be a U.S. representative in Washington for District 3 in Texas. District 3 encompasses a lot of Collin County and all of Hunt County. And we can probably get into some more details about that later.
Awesome. So I know you've been running for a number of years, but what inspired you to run for office?
Yeah, I'll admit I used to be a Republican. I was raised kind of that way. I came of era in the Reagan presidency. That was my young teenage years, and definitely I'm very patriotic. I love this country. And I learned a little bit later on in life that there's a better way, that this party called the Libertarian Party does exist. I didn't know they existed in probably until the 1990s, even though they were formed in 1971. And I read the party platform and the things that libertarians believe in, and I'm like, that's me. And I want to make a difference. I want to give people another choice. Like I said, late in life, learned of the existence, and I thought, hey, I need to get out there and let everybody else know there's a different way and there's a better way, and that's the main reason why I run. I get the word out, let people know there's a better way, and when we are elected, absolutely make changes for the better.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'll take the next one. Can you outline your key priorities or platform issues for this campaign that you are running right now?
Absolutely. So one of the ways to make things better is to actually cut spending. I see the biggest problem to our sovereignty as a nation, to our success, and to keeping this great experiment called the Constitution of the United States of America alive, is our debt. I've watched the debt since I've been running for office go from 20 something trillion dollars to now $34 trillion. It just keeps going and going. The Republicans nor the Democrats seem to care about this runaway spending. I've heard it said that our government doesn't have a revenue problem, it has a spending problem. It's like most Americans. We just want to buy, and don't worry about the credit card. And, well, we'll pay that off some year. No, it's a big deal. And that's how I will make it better, is to actually propose ways to cut spending at the federal level and to rein in our deficit, rein in the debt. And I think it is critical to the success of our nation.
All right. So I know you're running against an incumbent, at least one incumbent. What sets you apart from him and your other opponent?
Yeah, absolutely. The incumbent is actually Republican Keith Self, and he and I have a lot in common. He's a 1975 graduate of the United States Military Academy. I'm a 1991 graduate of the United States Military Academy. We've both served in the Army. I have found that a lot of people that have served in our armed forces are, in fact, libertarian. They believe, as I do, that we took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and therefore the best way to do that is to change the government, because a lot of the aspects of the Constitution are under attack. The Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Patriot Act is stripped. The First Amendment, even now, today, is under attack from inside of our own government. And so we need to get in and provide those protections that aren't there. Again, I've met Keith Self. He's a nice guy. He's a graduate. I respect him as what we call an old grad. I guess I'm an old grad now too, but he's older, 75 versus 91. But again, he's a Republican who is not actually going to cut spending. And that's the key difference. The Democrat candidate is Srinivas, is his first name, I believe. And, typical Democrat, he's for gun control. And as a libertarian, I just can't allow that. So that's a big difference between the Democratic candidate and myself as a libertarian candidate.
Awesome. Do the next one.
So for me specifically, I really wanted to highlight this. I'm going a little out of order, Nathan. How will you ensure transparency and accountability in your specific actions as an elected official?
Yeah, absolutely. Integrity is a big part of my character. And to me, integrity is you say what you do and do what you say. There is no, behind the scenes things that are happening, or I'm not saying something behind somebody's back that I wouldn't say to their face, put it out there in the media. I'm always going to do that. That's the way I've lived my whole life. I learned that, and it was emphasized at West Point as well. Integrity, the character of a leader is paramount. And so that ensures the accountability. Transparency, as a manager in the civilian sector for coming up on 30 years now, I've always also been very transparent with my employees. If I know something that's going on at the corporate level, I'm going to share that information freely via any communication that we have, both all hands meetings, emails, whatever it takes. I'm going to share that information, and I want to hear their feedback, their candid, transparent feedback as well. I actually call it, and my employees at first kind of are a little concerned when I say this, but over time, as they get to know me, I call it brutal honesty. I want to be brutally honest with you, and you should be brutally honest with me at all times.
Great. All right. Can you share your approach to building support from all parties and working across party lines?
Yeah, no, that's always a tricky one. There are big divisions between Republicans and Democrats, and obviously with libertarians as well. I've found over the years, though, you can boil this down to two key issues. For Republicans, they don't want to agree with libertarians on the issue of legalizing drugs. And that's a tough one to get past. On any other issues, that we're free to talk, negotiate, whatever. But that seems to be an absolute with the Republicans. There are ways to make a compromise there. I've been pushing for the legalization of all drugs since I was a cadet at West Point. Yes, even at West Point, I wrote a paper about the legalization of marijuana for one of my English classes. Luckily, they didn't kick me out. Now, on the Democratic side, the key issue I've learned over the years as running as a libertarian is gun control and the Second Amendment. And that is, they will absolutely not waver on that. And of course, I don't think we, as libertarians, we should. It's in the Constitution. It's there for a reason. I firmly believe in our founding fathers. So those, discussions trying to reach a consensus are going to get contentious and difficult to work through. But as always, this is, I've learned through the corporate American environment, it's all about cooperation and seeking a consensus before moving forward. So absolutely, we're going to do our best to work with everybody. But those, again, just to highlight, are the two trickiest issues on either side of the fence.
Okay. All right. Well, I think here's a tough one, I think. What experience or skills do you possess that make you well suited for this role?
Well, my experience is in the U.S. Army and at West Point. I highlight on my website, claytorforcongress.org, if you have a chance to check it out, about my history at West Point. And there we learned it's known as the cadet prayer. And it literally says, help me, Almighty Creator, choose the harder right over the easier wrong. And when you're talking about government circles, what is the harder right to choose? Well, I'm not making this up. Nobody has to make it up. It's already written down. It's called the U.S. Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there in black and white. This is what's right for the government to do. And if it's not there, it says in the 10th Amendment, well, then it falls to the states or to the people. I think our problem over the years in federal government level is that do-gooders, everybody has good intent. They want to help somebody out. They're like adding to the Constitution, not via an amendment, but regulations, laws, trying to make things better. When it's again, that's not right though. What's right is if it's in the document, the government should do it. If it's not there, let the states and or the people figure out what needs to be done.
Yeah, for sure. Amanda, did you have any others you wanted to bring up?
I think he answered everything with us actually having to ask them. So the last one is, if anyone wants any information about you or your campaign, or would like to donate to your campaign, where can they find that information?
Yeah, so I already mentioned website, claytorforcongress.org, and it's FOR spelled out in that case. And I also have a Facebook page that it's a little bit of a play on words into an acronym. And it's the letters CL, the number 8, the number 4, and then the letters LIB. And that's CL8 for Lib, or Clayt as a nickname of my last name. Clayt for Liberty is how you would remember that.
Excellent. All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. It sounds like Amanda doesn't have any more questions. Thank you, Chris, for answering all of those questions. And for anybody else who is tuning in to watch this, look forward to more interviews to come. Chris is our first candidate to interview, our sacrificial guinea pig here as well. But hey, libertarians running for government, it's difficult. So thank you again, Chris. If you're the video, we do have his link to his Facebook as well as to his website as well displayed. So tune in next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.